This is a beautiful history. The feast of dedication. I'm gonna go briefly over it. Give me First Maccabee 1, verse 1.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, king of Persia and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
So now we know the Greeks defeated Persian Medes, right? And now read verse. Keep reading.
Verse 2. And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth.
So that tells you he defeated many kings. That goes into all those black rulers around that time. He defeated them. Read.
Verse 3. And went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, and so much that the earth was quiet before him.
So everybody was afraid of Alexander the Great. That's the story you're reading right now. The story of Alexander the Great in the Bible. All right? It's telling you so much that other nations were feared of him, that the earth was quiet before him. Read on.
Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up.
And he became very prideful. That's what that goes into. Go ahead.
And he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries, and nations, and kings, who became tributaries unto him.
So that means other nations were paying taxes. They were paying tribute unto Alexander the Great. Verse 6.
Verse 6.
Oh, no. Finish verse 5.
Verse 5. And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die.
So we all know what happened to Alexander the Great. He was dealing with man and man. Read on.
Verse 6. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them.
So that goes into the four generals that he had. You have Cassander, Seleucus, Ptolemy, and what was the fourth one? Cassander. No, I already said Cassander. No, I think Lysimachus. Yes, there you go. That's the last one. Those were the generals that he divided his kingdom onto. Jump down to verse 9.
Verse 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth.
It's telling you that evil were multiplied in the earth. So they were doing wicked stuff. So that's showing you exactly what the scriptures say in Job 9 and 24. That how did it go? Job 9 and 24. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked. Yes. Okay. Now jump down to Antiochus. I think that's 10.
Verse 10.
Yeah.
Verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome.
He was more wicked than all the other ones that they say evil were multiplying the earth. He was far worse than they were. Now, you jump into Antiochus. That's around the time what we are about to read about, the Feast of Dedication. Okay? Now, I want you to jump down to verse 41.
Verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
Now, his policy was, he's doing the same thing the so-called white man is doing today. All should be one people. He was pushing his doctrine that everybody come together and follow him. Read.
And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath.
So they all agreed to come and follow what the king has said. Even a lot of the Israelites follow that same custom. Keep reading.
Verse 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem, and had the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offering and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
So they were pushing for us not to keep the high holy days anymore, to do the abominable things on the Sabbath day, the altar to sacrifice swine flesh. All these things are the wrong things to be doing, but it was sick. Keep reading.
Verse 46, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars, groves, and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts.
Keep reading.
That they should also lead their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and provocations.
So realistically, we all know he was targeting one group of people. That was not really all people to come in one. Actually, what they wanted was all Israel to join them, because they were already doing that nonsense. All these laws that they're pushing here was laws to push us away from following God's commandment. We're on verse 49.
Verse 49, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances.
See, to the end that we may forget who we are and stop keeping the commandments. Isn't that the same thing the so-called white men did of today? Yeah. Now, let's jump to more of the story. Jump down to chapter 2, verse 1.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2, and verse 1. In those days arose Matthias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the son of Jereb, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Madi.
Go ahead.
Verse 2. And he had 5 sons. Johanan called Cadus, Simon called Thais, and Judas, who was called Maccabbees, and Eleazar called Abiram, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphius.
Okay, now those 5 sons, each one of them had their own characteristic, their own style. Simon was considered the wise one, the one that was very strategic. He very smart, knowing how to plan things, as opposed to Judas Maccabbees was a man of war, man of fight. He knew how to fight. He was very skilled with his hand. You know, so that was Judas Maccabbees. With all saying, shout out to the tribe of Levi. But yeah, on the real. Those were the 5 sons of Matthias. And now let's see what happened. Jump to verse 6.
Verse 6, and when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of the strangers.
So what he sees was how they were leaving the children uncircumcised, how they were doing things in the temple that was not lawful. So he was very sad in the whole situation. And they'll tell you, jump down to verse 10.
Verse 10, what nation hath not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
That's the same thing Daniel says when you read in Daniel 9 and 12, telling you all nation, I'm not quoting it right. It goes into saying that we suffer more than everybody else, and all nation partake in our fallout. And read it again.
Verse 10, what nation hath not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
Read.
All her ornaments are taken away of a free woman. She has become a bondslave.
That's Israel. Now I want you to jump to Matthias. They tried to bribe him. Verse 15.
Verse 15. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city of Modin to make them sacrifice.
Modin is the city where Matthias and his sons were living. Go ahead, verse 16.
Verse 16. And when many of Israel came into them, Matthias also and his sons came together. Then answered the king's officers and said to Matthias on his wise, thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened his sons and brethren. Now therefore come thou first, and fulfill the king's commandments.
See, now they try to bribe. They know Mattathias had a reputation. He was well known in the city, the town that he was in. They're like, if we can get the leader of that city, we got the whole city. Let's go ahead and bribe him. Tell him, hey, you can't be the king friends if you go ahead and complete what the king had required from everybody. Read.
Now therefore come thou first, and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done. Yea, the men of Judah also, such as remain at Jerusalem. So
now he also telling you to make him feel like, okay, don't feel bad, because you also have your brothers that's already partake of this, already consent to the commandment of the king. So just go ahead and be like your brother, fulfill what they have done. Read.
So shall thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards.
Read on.
Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, Thou all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away every one from his religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandment. Yet I and my sons and my brethren,
read it again.
Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers.
Now this is the response of Mattathias. It says, yes, I know you already got some of our people to consent and all this and this and that. But as for me and my sons, we're not going to consent. And you see, that's showing you the characteristic of Mattathias. When he saw that, he couldn't hold himself. Read it again for me. Man, I'm telling you, that story is beautiful. Read it again.
Verse 24, which thing when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. Also the king's commanders, their commissioners, compelled men to sacrifice. He killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down.
You see what he did? Not only he killed that demon that wanted to show the opposite of what he was trying to stand for, standing for God's commandment, but this Negro wanted to do what he wanted to do. Wanted to be self-will, say, hell with you. Me, I'm going to follow the king. I'm going to do what the king do so I can feed my pocket. You ain't feeding me. I'm just saying. That's how our people think of today. And when he saw that, you saw what he did. Not only he killed him, and he killed those messengers that the king sent. And you know, back in the day, you do something like that, you ask for war. And he was ready. He was ready to do what? Jump to verse 27.
Verse 27. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, Whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me.
You notice something? He did not call on everybody. He did not call on everybody. It says those that are zealous, that means ready to die for the Most High God laws, come and follow me. If you're weak, if you don't want to follow God's commandment, stay home. That's exactly what he says. Plain and simple. Now, let's jump down to, finish read that part so you guys can see what he started doing. Read on.
Verse 28. So he and his sons fled into the mountains, and left all that ever they had in the city. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there.
Hold on. Think about that. You think a lot of brothers would have done what they did here today? Leaving everything they have behind, leaving their wives and children, leaving there's 9 job, luxury things that they like, hell with that. You go. I'm out. I'll go back to what I used to do. Hell with that. Showing you the zeal of our forefathers. Where are these brothers today, man? These are the questions that we must ask ourselves. Those are the reasons these stories, when we going over it with our children, you building them up, create self-esteem. Christmas have nothing to do with us. But that story here, telling you the exact characteristic of our people, of our forefathers. Read on.
Verse 30. Both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because affliction increased sore upon them. Now when it was told